Just one back. Oh, hey guys. Just doing some more bench on this Living.Fit Cerakote barbell. I like it a lot. You know the drill though, I gotta get this rep. It's been sitting here for a little while now. You think I got it? I'm not sure. We're fixing to find out. Woo! Unsure about that one. Let's get into it.
What's up guys, Philip here, and I am back in the garage. Wanted to go ahead and review this Living.Fit Cerakote barbell. Now this was sent to me for free by the owner, Jay Perkins over at Living.Fit, for an honest review and my honest assessment of this bar. And I plan on giving that honest review, and I did not take it easy on this bar. I rode it like a rental and it handled it pretty well. So let's talk about that a little bit. This bar is meant to be more of a multi-purpose style bar. It's not supposed to be specialized towards powerlifting or weightlifting. It's really supposed to be a hybrid, and it needs to perform a variety of lifts well, and you do see that hybrid nature in this bar, quite like the Ohio bar or the Colorado bar, which this bar is meant to compete with or be in that same vein. So you do see the no center knurling that is consistent with this style of bar. Also the dual knurl marks. Now it does have a spin and it is consistent, but it's not exaggerated, which I would rather it be that way than be, just overly exaggerated with the spin, especially if you're going to be using this for heavy compound lifts that are not Olympic style. So it has a Cerakote across the shaft and a Cerakote on the sleeves with a 28 millimeter shaft on it and about a 200K PSI tensile strength, 1,500 pound capacity. And I was very surprised how stiff it was for being a 28 millimeter shaft. Now it does have bronze bushings and it does have bearings in it as well. And so those are just some of the specifications for this bar. So let's talk about how it performed under a heavy load, and really when I tested it out pretty heavily. I used this bar for a variety of lifts, including the big three and some auxiliary lifts like body weight rows and the such. Now for the big three, my impressions of benching on this bar were really good. It has a knurling that is not overly aggressive. For a bar like this, I would not want to see an overly aggressive knurling because you're going to be using it for more than the powerlifting style lifts, and you're going to be doing quite a bit of rep work with this style of bar, and you really don't want something that's going to chew your hands up. Now, with that being said, this bar, the knurling is a little bit more passive than I would like to see. Even though it is a multi-purpose style bar, I do think it could be a little bit more aggressive, where it's more of a hill style knurling. It really has the tops of the knurling chopped off quite a bit, and it does have Cerakote over that, which does also fill in some of those gaps. So overall, it really has more of a sandpaper style feeling than a really sharp dig into your hand style feeling. With that being said, even though it's not super aggressive, I did have plenty of grip on this bar. Now I will mention, just to give a perspective on knurling for a bar, I am of the opinion that some people use the aggressiveness of the knurling that they can handle as a way to gauge their, let's say, belonging into the salty spittoon, to really show how tough they are, when it's really not that necessary. And for this bar, I proved that by pulling a 635 pound deadlift with no straps, hook grip, with some chalk. So it handled mid sixes. And honestly, I had no problem holding on to it. Probably could have held it for longer than that. Really, if I really wanted to, probably could have went 660 no problem without straps. So I think that it is enough, but I would like to feel more of a bite, even if it is a multi-purpose style bar. So that's my main complaint with this bar. It felt good in the hands when I benched with it, didn't have an overly large amount of whip, and it really handled the whip situation a lot better than I thought it would. Being a 28 millimeter bar, it had some whip when I deadlifted, but I mean, I went up to mid sixes. That's to be expected. It also really did not have much whip when I squatted with it, which was very nice because, in my opinion, a bunch of whip on a squat is very disorienting once you get up to a heavy squat. And I went up to 5 plates with this bar and it handled it really, really well. I didn't notice that much whip. With that being said, now you do want a little bit of whip, and that's why this bar is fun to use for deadlifting, because that 28 millimeter shaft, typically a bar of this style will have a 28.5 millimeter shaft. This is actually 28. So it's a little bit easier to grip, and I think that is very, very good for kind of who they're targeting with this bar, because you're probably going to have more women that use this bar. You're going to have, less powerlifting types that use this bar. So, a knurling that's not overly aggressive and a thinner shaft will do you well. It also is easier to hook grip and easier to grip just in general. So it's very fun to use for deadlifts, but it is stiff enough to not really cause problems on squats. Now, another thing that I was really worried about with this bar is heavy squats with no center knurling. The center knurling is nice to dig into your back, but I will say with this Cerakote coating that's on it, it kind of has an inherent grippiness, chalkiness to it, and I had no problems locking this into my back on my 495 pin squat, so that really wasn't a problem. So my two main concerns with this bar were the knurling, being able to grip onto it. It passed it with flying colors, and the no center knurling for squats, it also passed that with flying colors. So with that being said, this bar is a really fun bar to pull on. It's a really fun bar to bench on. It is a great bar to squat on. It really has done its job, at least in my usage. Now I will say another con that you can point out is the sleeves are Cerakoted and they will show usage. It doesn't matter who the bar is from. My Ohio deadlift bar that's behind y'all, it's showing ring marks on it as well from my deadlifts that I have, used it for. But this one's doing the same thing. It's showing ring marks on it, kind of has a tiger tail, if you know what I mean. But honestly, the biggest con with that is Cerakote is meant to really provide a protection against oxidation, especially in a garage like mine in Tennessee. And that can affect its corrosion resistance. So, but the good thing is you really don't touch the sleeves that much. You touch the plates that go on the sleeves, but where you're going to be really touching with sweaty hands and the such, that's not going to get marred and scarred, and that has held up very, very well. Another minor con of the Cerakote sleeves is if you use this bar or own this bar after somebody who's stronger than you, you will live with the crippling inadequacy of not being able to fill all of those ring marks on the sleeves. So do keep that in mind if you are considering this or buying it from somebody else. Make sure you're stronger than them. But overall, I've really liked this bar. I think that it's very good for the applications that I've used it in. And I think it is great for their target audience, which again is not the powerlifting type. It is more of the general use, loaded up with 2 or 3 plates on each side, maybe, do a variety of lifts with it and, have a good time. And I think it does a great job of that. So this bar is $225 with free shipping. I feel like that is a pretty competitive price for a bar with Cerakote on it. with pretty comfortable tolerances, has very clean termination marks everywhere, has a nice end cap. That's another thing that I am really big on, because in my opinion, for the most part, a barbell is a barbell is a barbell. So the little details make a difference to me. And the Living.Fit end cap on it, it has kind of a texture to it, and it's a little holographic on the Living.Fit logo and all of that. I think, you know, things like that are really nice. So overall, this is a very competitive bar that I've had a lot of fun using. And so give me your thoughts on it. Let me know, you know, what bar you would pick up, or if you would consider this bar. Now again, it's not going to be right for everybody, I understand that, but I've been pleasantly surprised with it. Drop any comments that y'all have down in the comment section below, any questions that you might have for me. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.